Okay, everyone, please select the channel that you would like to be in. If we could go back to the first slide, please. Thank you all for joining us today for the Western Center for Ag Health and Safety seminar series. We're really glad that you're here. Next slide. First, I'll go over a few additional housekeeping items. The seminar is being recorded, and that means you'll be able to view it and share it on YouTube in the next few days, both in English and in Spanish. All participants are muted. However, we really welcome you to share comments and questions by using the chat feature. At the end of the seminar, we'll have time for Q&A. And then as we just heard, Spanish interpretation is available. You can choose English or Spanish from the interpretation language selection below. Next slide. For those of you who haven't joined us before, welcome. We're glad you're here. The Western Center for Agricultural Health and Safety, based at UC Davis, has a mission to improve the health and safety of agricultural workers in the West through research, trainings, and tailored outreach. Today, we're going to hear from one of our core research projects that focuses on some really innovative research. Next slide. So we're really happy to welcome Dr. Farzaneh Khorsandi. She's going to talk about her research project related to agricultural all-terrain vehicle safety, so ATV safety, which is incredibly important. ATVs, while very useful and important on ag fields and in orchards, can also be quite dangerous. I'm going to turn it over to you now, Farzaneh. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Heather, for the introduction. And can you see my screen?
Yes, if you want, yes, we are
Okay,
good to go.
is it
Thank
good?
you.
Okay, thank you so much, Heather, for the introduction. And as Heather said, I'm Associate Professor of Extension in Agricultural Safety and Health. And I have some of the supporters of these studies, especially Western Center for Agricultural Safety and Health, for the support of projects that I'm presenting today. First of all, it's like this is some photos. I added some fun photos from the lab. Sometimes, bike to downtown to get ice cream, or this is some photos from the Halloween. But the general idea is that in my lab, the main goal is to, one, preventing incident, and second, protecting operators during those incidents. And I had around 10 graduate students to this point, and more than 30 undergraduate students hired to conduct these studies. And I would like to acknowledge every single of them for all the work that they have done and they are doing in the lab. This is, let's just start with the definition of ATV. This is, the definition based on Department of Motor Vehicle in California. And the definition is that they have 3 or 4 low pressure tires. As we know, the production of three-wheelers have been ceased in around 1970s. And they have straddle seats. And the size of them, the width should not be more than 50 inches, and the weight should not be more than 900 pounds. And they use handlebars, as you can see here, for the steering. And based on California government, there should not be an extra rider on the ATV unless there is extra seat here, and there should not be more than one extra seat on the ATV based on, again, the definition of DMV. And by generally around 100 to 200 kids every year die in ATV incidents, and around 500 to 700 adults die. Again, the number is rough, but this is the general idea. And this is not only in agriculture, it's for general ATV incidents. And if we focus only on agriculture, which is the main topic of this presentation, it's good to know that based on OSHA, 3 out of 5 occupational ATV fatalities happen in agriculture. And ATVs after tractor are the second leading cause of fatalities in agriculture, injuries in agriculture for adults and kids. But if we focus only on kids, this is among the leading causes of injury in agriculture among youths younger than 17 years old. And comparing the recreational and agricultural incidents. For agricultural incidents, as you can see in this table, around 85% are rollover. And in majority of them, operator trapped under the ATV and they die because of asphyxiations. If you compare the injuries, you can see that the chest injuries compared to the head injuries, it's much more common. And comparing with recreational one, they usually ride the ATV pretty fast. The ATV hit to an object, operator eject, and they die because of head injuries. You see the number of head injuries around 49% for recreational one. And comparing, this is, the type of incidents, and comparing the application, majority of ATVs for agricultural use have some kind of attachment. Between 50 to 75% of them, they have attachment, while the number is smaller for recreational one. And as you can see here, recreational one, it's more possible to have an extra passenger with the ATV. And based on this table, we compare the agricultural and recreational ATV incidents and application, and we see that there is a significant difference between them, the type of incidents and also application. And the focus of this study is on agricultural ATV incidents. And this is, some kind of overview of all the studies and things that I've done related to ATV safety. When I started in UC Davis and I started the ATV safety project, the first step I lead this writing this white paper. This is a white paper that I developed in collaboration with several researchers from different institutions around US. And you can, scan this QR code and get access to this white paper. And in this white paper, which is developed based on hierarchy of control, we evaluated different protection methods. And what we have in this white paper is that we evaluated what have been done to this point, what is the current need, and what we should do in future to improve the safety and health of ATV operators. And this white paper has been very helpful for me to navigate my research in ATV study. And this is the format of this presentation is based on tags and signs on the ATV. I will talk initially with the loading capacity of the ATV, which is, you can find it on the body of the ATV. The next one is tire pressure. We have a small study related to tire pressure. Also the age, which is focused on use safety riding ATVs on farms. And also we have a small project about passengers and also riding the ATVs on the road, which is a part of this tag. And also using PPE and especially the helmet for riding ATVs. For this study, we developed the ATV safety test station. This is the first part of the test station, which includes this hydraulically powered tilt table. As you can see, we have a specific frame for this table, and we place different scales under the tires of the ATV. I will explain this more, and this is for evaluating the static stability of the ATV. The second part is dynamic stability of the ATV. We designed this outrigger, and also we have several sensing setups to measure different riding parameters of the ATV when we are doing the dynamic stability test. We are also developing an finite element model. It's a multi-body finite element model, again, for different parts of this ATV safety study. And also we are developing experimental setup for simulating the rollover accidents. And I will show them step by step in this presentation. The first part is the project that is funded by Western Center for Agricultural Safety and Health. And in this specific project, again, we focus on prevention and also protection. For the prevention part, we are evaluating and recommending the amount, location, and type of the load added to the ATV, and we are to evaluate the stability of the ATV for lateral and longitudinal stability. And I bring some example of the load. For example, this one is a liquid load on the rear rack. The next one is solid load that is towed by the ATV. Again, this is we are evaluating the amount, location, and type of the load for both lateral and also longitudinal stability of the ATV. And this is the sensing setup for the ATV test. I'm going to run this video. And for this one, we have different parts. As you can see, we have the sensing setup for collecting the data. We use Raspberry Pi for collecting data. We have several scales under the tires of the ATV. We have the dummy, also the angle measurement sensor. And as you can see, we tilt ATV to the point that the ATV start rolling over, which is the point that the top tires they show zero on their top scales. And this is some of the results that we collected. This part of the study is almost done. And this is some of the results that this is for lateral stability test, similar to the one that I showed to you. We tilted the ATV to the side. And based on NCSVIA, the stability of the ATV should be more than 24, which means that the ATV start rolling after 24 degrees, after we reach 24 degrees. Sorry. And as you can see, we have different types, liquid and also solid, based on the recommendation by manufacturer and also safety specialists. As you can see, when we have liquid, for some models, especially model D and E, and because of, we didn't bring the title, make and model of the ATV here, but, for some of them, they cannot pass the test based on our study. And for other one, the numbers are very close to this cutoff that is based on NCSVIA standard for ATVs. Result of this study, we are publishing them in a journal. And again, we are hoping to provide recommendation about type, location, and amount of the load. And especially we have concern about the liquid load, because the liquid load, they have shift, especially when the tank is semi-full. And this is a dynamic stability test. We have steady state circular driving test and J-turn test. I will go through both of them. And also we have bump test that we didn't have any test to this point for this bump test. And because of that, I didn't present bump test. And we are conducting this study in Pavement Center in UC Davis. They are very generous to give us the chance to use their facility to conduct our test. And I will show you this test. For this test and for safety purpose, we designed this outrigger, which is a universal outrigger, which means that we design one for different design of ATV, and with simple justifications, we can just modify we can attach it to the ATV. I would like to thank Jed, our shop specialist, that helped us with this very creative design. And again, for this study, we have the load in the rear and also in the front, and also we have the liquid tanks. And as you can see, I'm not sure if it's clear here, we have semi-full liquid tank to show to evaluate the liquid shift in these studies as well. And based on previous studies, around 30% of ATV related incidents happen when there is a liquid, when operator is doing the spraying. And because of that, we have a specific part of the study focusing on liquid tanks. And this is a dynamic stability test, J-turn test. And for this test, we run the ATV on a straight line. Then we have the sharp turn. And then we evaluate the response time of the ATV. This is one of the tests, as you can see. And as you can see, we have a small load on the front and a small load on the back. This is based on, I think, manufacturer recommendation. And this is some results of this study. Again, we evaluate the response time of the ATV. And the other one is STD state circular driving test. And for this one, we start driving the ATV around this circle, and we increase the speed of the ATV until the point that the ATV either goes toward the center or it gets away from the center of the ATV, which we call them oversteering and understeering. And this is some of the results of this study. We have understeering here until 0.55 G, and after 0.55 G, we have oversteering. And this condition is representative of unstable riding ATV condition. And again, we are still working on the result of dynamic stability. I showed you for static stability, we have some kind of conclusion for the study, but for dynamic stability, we are still working and collecting the data. And I would like to acknowledge Fernando Santos for all he is doing. He is the one that running all of those tests. And as I mentioned, this part of the project focus on one, prevention, and second, protection. Prevention, we are hoping that by recommending the amount of added load to the ATV, we prevent the rollover incidents and improve the stability of the ATV. And the second part is protection, which means that we have different design of crash protection devices. I will talk a little bit about crash protection devices. You can see different design of crash protection device on this in this slide. These two, quad bar and quad bar flexi, they are from Australia. Lifeguard is from New Zealand, and Air Wraps is from Spain. And the way that these crash protection devices protect the operator is that by providing a crawl zone under the ATV. This blue area is the crawl zone that the CPD provide for operator. And I will show you how they work. This is, one of the study that has been conducted, that was conducted by Rafael Gerzebieta in Australia. And as you can see, this is the ATV without CPD. And you can see how it crushed the operator. The next one is ATV with lifeguard. And you can see that lifeguard provide a clearance zone under the ATV. This is the clearance zone under the ATV. And the last one is a quad bar that prevent the continuous roll of the ATV. And right now in Australia, since October 2020, it's mandatory for occupational ATVs to have CPDs installed on their ATVs. Also in several countries, such as Australia, Israel, it's recommended to install them. And also in Europe, they are examining those CPDs to recommend them or not to recommend them. They are still in the study phase of this one. And for this part of the study, we develop autonomous ATV. This is our autonomous ATV, and this is, the initial test that we had. This is in COVID. You can see we were wearing masks, but we are still working on this part of the study. This is the autonomous ATV, and we also need one of these ATD. They are very expensive. They are around $500,000. I've been searching for past 5 years. I couldn't find anyone, but since our study is focused on asphyxiation, I'm going to do the test with using one of these pressure pads, placing it on the body of the dummy. I hope that we can get some good results. But beside that, we are using different cameras to record the incident. And also, we have one high speed camera that it can take a lot of photos. I don't remember how many frame per second, but we're going to use this camera for our study to record the data. And this is the test setup. We are evaluating the side roll and rear roll, and we modified SAE 2194 standard. And we are hoping to evaluate the performance of CPD, especially for agricultural setup for both side roll and rear roll. And for the CPD project, we have several design of CPDs, and this is a link to the study. If you are interested to receive one of the CPDs, you can sign up in this link, and we only can provide them to UC system, again, because of some liability issues. But if you are in UC system and you are interested to receive one of them, you can scan this QR code and join this study. And for this study, we provide the CPDs, and then we prepared 3 rounds of survey and evaluate the operators' satisfaction and experience using CPDs on their ATVs. And then the next part of this study is computer simulation. This is the simulated chassis of the ATV. We tested the suspension system and also the tire. We got the different characteristics of them. And we have a pretty accurate model of the ATV and also the suspension and the tire system. We also have a dummy. We simulate our dummy, and we also simulate the liquid tank, which was one of the most challenging part of this study. And in this study, again, since we have limited number of the ATVs, autonomous ATVs and scenarios that we can evaluate with our computer simulations, we're going to use with experimental simulation, we're going to use computer simulation to collect for more scenarios and more ATVs, more design of CPDs. And again, we simulate different design of CPDs, as you can see here, and we haven't started the simulation for CPDs specifically, but we are in the way to simulate ATVs and rollover and other stuff. This is one of our initial results. We were just so excited to get this result. This is a bump, 20 centimeter bump, and the bottom one is 30 centimeter bump that we could finally show that, they roll over. It's very difficult to do this simulation because I remember at some point my student said that when ATV reached the bump, it just started flying because, we forget to lock 1 degree freedom of the ATV. But this is, again, some of our other simulation. This is one of the videos. We compare this one with Australian study, and we see that the location of the dummy and the simulation is pretty accurate. And also another part of this study, we simulate the liquid tank, which is again, very challenging. This is, the liquid tank, hitting the ground, and you can see the water sloshing. And again, we will combine all of them for our final simulations. And again, the next part is tire pressure. Again, as I mentioned, we evaluate the amount of load, and now we are evaluating the tire pressure. Again, as you know, the ATV is low tire pressure, has 4 tire with low pressure, and we measure the static stability using the table that I showed you in previous slides. And we also using the computer simulation to see how it affects the stability of ATV in rollover accidents. Another part of this study, again, for protection, this is AgroGuardian. This is a ATV incident, rollover incident prediction and detection and notification. And as you can see, it starts from 1 here when the operator has the incident. It connects to a satellite. And for this specific device, there is no need for internet connection or cell phone service. It connects to satellites, and through a third party, it notifies the first response. Using this device, we can collect different operational conditions and factors of ATV as well. And next part of this study is riding the ATV on roads. In several states, it's legal to ride ATVs on roads. And based on what I heard, the number is increasing. And NIOSH had some specific concern about riding ATVs on road. And this is the initial idea that I started this part of the project, that why we should not ride the ATV on roads. And around 60% of ATV fatalities happen on roadways. And also, a significant portion of them, 2/3 of them, is the result of ATV incident by itself. It's not because ATV hit another vehicle. 2/3 of them happen by ATV losing the control by itself, or something happened to the ATV by itself. And there are some concern in this regard. And in this study that was mainly conducted by one of my former undergraduate student, Nicholas. And in this study, we are evaluating why we should not ride the ATV on road. Again, ATV are unstable because they have high center of gravity, they have narrow track widths. And in addition to that, their tires, as you can see, the right one is the ATV tire and the left one is the car tire. They are not designed for on-road application. They are off-road tires. The next one is the rear axle. In some of the ATV, they have this solid rear axle, and also they have fixed rear differential that makes it more challenging for ATVs to turn the sharp curves, especially when the speed is higher. And I'm continuing this part of the study as a part of NCRA again. I'm hoping to get feedback from different states and different researchers and have some kind of report or publication in this regard as well, that documenting that why we should not let ATVs on road. And it needs some engineering evaluation that I'm hoping with my research team to have some of this evaluation. And the next part of this study, as you remember, one of the tags on the ATV was about age. And this one is funded by National Children's Center, which is a NIOSH funded center. And this is the main focus of this study is youth operating agricultural ATVs on farm. And for this study, we hypothesize that kids are not able to ride ATVs because they are not physically mature enough or physically ready to ride the ATVs. And the first part of it is that children cannot properly reach different controls of the ATV. They may reach the controls, but they may not be strong enough to, for example, press the handbrake or push the handlebar or press the foot brake. And also they have a restricted field of vision. This study, we are close to be done with this study, and I can show you some of the final results of this study as well. And we use Vive tracking system for our simulation. With this system that we developed, we can simulate the ATV with accuracy of 1 millimeter. And this is how we did the study. We simulate the ATV. As you can see, this is the tent that have the emitter and receiver of the Vive tracking. We simulate the ATV. We simulate kids with different age and percentile and genders. This is the simulations, and then we combine them in interactive scenarios. For example, you can see one of them here that is turning the handlebar from lock to lock. This is, one of the examples. And this is based on CPSC and also other resources. And this is, for example, a 6 years old kid. I don't remember the percentile. And again, we try to simulate if this kid can ride the ATV, can turn the handlebar from lock to lock. And again, we had different percentiles and also different ages of use riding these ATVs, these simulating ATVs. And another part of this study, as I said, we evaluate if kids are able to activate different controls of the ATV. This is our setup to evaluate if they can press the foot brake just efficiently, and they can activate the foot brake. We had these sensors on the shoes that we can measure the force, and also we have several sensors on the glove that we can measure that if they are able to activate the handbrake or also turning the handlebar effectively. And I don't want to go to a lot of details of this study. They are available in several publications. You can find them on Google Scholar and other resources. They are already available. We have, I think, 4 or 5 publications in this regard. But the final recommendation out of this study is some practical recommendation that if you want to let a kid ride an ATV, what you should do to evaluate their performance or to see if they are physically ready to ride the ATV. For example, this is, one of them, handbrake lever reach. If you want to see if a kid is able to press the handbrake, the first part of their middle finger, this part should pass the handbrake, the handbrake. And the second one, for example, here is that the distance between the knee and the handlebar should be around 4 inches. If it's smaller, then they cannot turn the handlebar effectively. And these are some of the examples. We have a larger list of criteria. We also developing this phone application that walk parents step by step or even kids step by step to evaluate different riding criteria. Right now, I'm working to send this app and also the develop recommendation list to different researchers around the US and also outside the US to get their feedback and see how I can improve it, make it more user-friendly. And these are some of the recommendations. And for example, for this one, we recommend to have the helmet and have the long sleeve, but again, to show the angles and different parts of the body, we are using this setup. These are some of the criteria. Again, we are still working on this part of the study. And we also evaluate the rollover simulation, simulate the rollover for kids in different scenarios. You can see this scenario that they can only use their hand. The second scenario is that they can use their hand fully, and it's in a bigger distance from the center of gravity. And next scenario, they can use both foot and hand to push the ATV off of their body. Unfortunately, in most of the cases that we evaluate, kids are not able to push ATV off of their body. We also evaluate use ATVs for use. They are not even able to push those ATV off of their body in most of the cases. But the current recommendation based on CPSC is that the operator weight or the kid weight should be more than 1/3 of the weight of the ATV, which may not be even correct for a lot of adults, considering the weight of the ATVs. As you remember, based on DMB, the weight should not be more than 900 pounds. And based on this, the operator's weight, should be around 300 pounds. This is, some of the results of this study. Again, you can find them online. And in another part, we evaluate the field of vision of the kids when there is a sprayer in front of the kids, and also when there is a windshield, maybe frosted, or there is dust on it, and it's not easy to see through this one. And again, result of this study showed that in most of the case, when there is a liquid tank in front of the kids, they are not able to, their field of vision is very limited, and it's recommended not to let them use a sprayer in front of them. Also cleaning the windshield. We also evaluate how the helmet affect their visibility, which it has some effect, but it's not very significant. Again, you can see result of this study as well. In another study, we also developed an ATV riding simulator. And this one, our main goal was to evaluate youth's mental capabilities for riding the ATV. Again, we evaluated their physical capability. Next step would be evaluating their mental capability, which unfortunately we couldn't get funding for this study to this point. But this simulator can be used for educational purposes as well. And this is, a summary of ATV-related studies that we have to this point. And I'm going to show you a little bit about other studies that we have in the lab. This is one of the study. Minyoung Hang is the one that is conducting this study. And this is for protecting farm workers from heat-related illnesses. And for this specific study, we installed 4 weather stations around California in different locations with different weather conditions, and also where there is more density of farm workers population. And we measure different weather characteristics or weather factors, and we are predicting WBGT and hoping to develop a phone application that can predict the heat-related illnesses for farm workers. And another study, this is about drones and autonomous ground vehicle safety. I have a couple of, I think 3 or 4 publications about it's a literature review, the current situation of autonomous vehicle safety in California especially, and also the next step about what we should do in terms of research, standards, and other stuff. You can find them again online. This is a QR code to one of my presentations in Cal OSHA, which was about the standard and practices presentation. We're also hoping to have, a study related to autonomous vehicle safety in the lab. And other projects, we recently submitted a manuscript related to application of chemicals and workers' safety. It was a literature review, and we are hoping that in future have a more comprehensive and bigger study about application of chemicals and operator safety. I'm also a part of AHMCT, which works with Caltrans, and I have a ongoing project that focus on roadside workers' safety. I'm developing a tool that it can protect Caltrans roadside workers from high-risk working scenarios. And we also had this is a pretty old project, but it was about cannabis worker safety. And in addition to autonomous vehicle, in addition to research, we have the lab, and my students help me as well. We have outreach activities, and the outreach activities include class, hands-on activities, and tours. I think this past summer, I had over 100 talks just during 3 months of summer. Very heavy outreach activities, and now I still have some of these activities going on. And next one. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and let me know if you have any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Farzaneh. It's clear that you are very busy and you have a lot of different projects happening. If you could pull down the slide, we can select questions. Anyone, please feel free to drop them into the chat. I know that when I am at conferences talking to growers or employers, I often bring up ATV safety. And it generally seems understood that they are both really useful and quite dangerous. At a recent conference, someone mentioned that they are starting to switch to side by sides or UTVs. I'm wondering if you could describe the difference between those two types of vehicles and why one is safer than the other.
Yeah, I think the side by side and ATVs, there are several difference in their physical characteristics. First of all, side by side, they have rollover protective structure, which is the key safety point for them. The second one is that they have this bench seat compared to a straddle seat. They have seat belts. They have these steering wheels, and also usually they have much better suspension system. And there has been a study in Australia that showed in terms of stability, they are much more stable compared to the ATV. Again, they usually have two seats side by side, which means that they have wider track widths and it makes them more stable. But in terms of stability, they are definitely much more stable. There are some concerns about them. One is that the height of them is pretty higher, and maybe farm workers they prefer to have a smaller device. And the other one is the price. You can find on Amazon. I remember once I find an ATV around $3,000, which I don't know how stable is that design. But for SSD, I think you should pay around $10,000 to be able to purchase one of them. Around $10,000. Again, price and also the size of the vehicle can be effective as well. But as long as I know, the sales market for SSV is increasing in the US.
I know that you mentioned this a little bit, but could you describe the different ways that growers or farmers are using ATVs in the workplace in the West, maybe in California, so that there's the ranching sort of setting, but what are some examples here out in the West?
I think, I know a couple of, accident. Mostly they use them a lot in vineyard, which I think recently we heard about several accidents in vineyards. And this is most I know about them. And I saw them a lot when I drive around California. I see them a lot in orchards. But this is, what mostly I saw. I know that, for example, in Australia, they most of the time they use it for, herding animals like, sheep and goats. But I'm not sure about California. Most of the time in vineyards or orchards. But I can search for that one and let you know.
Great, thank you. And a reminder, please let us know if you have any questions in the chat. Um, Is there anything else? Maybe I know that you had to go quickly through some of your last slides about your other research projects. Is there anything else you'd like to share about those? Or I know you also have a lot of expertise on tractor safety and do tractor trainings. So maybe making people aware of the opportunities there.
Yeah, I can share. I in last minute I deleted a lot of my slides because I was like, maybe I don't have time for all of them. But this is, one of our exciting project that we recently started. Let me see. I hide these slides now. You can see this. This is, one of the project we are trying to use agrovoltaics. They are the solar panels that they are using them specifically for they are using them on farms. And we have different weather stations with different heights under them. And we want to see if we can use them as a shading source for farm workers. And what we are doing, we are collecting data for I think right now around 4 or 5 months. And we are trying to evaluate them also for the vertical solar panels. The shade is limited, but maybe they can be also used. And also with the solar panels that they have more vegetations under them. Again, it's ongoing. And what we are doing is that one, we are collecting data continuously in two heights. One of them is, standing farmers, and the other one is the seated one. We also see that, what are the safety um, features that we should consider if we want to recommend them as a shading source. And the other one is that we are estimating how being under this shade, solar panels affect the core body temperature. But this is one of the ongoing projects. I applied for several grants for them, but I couldn't get it. But we just, we keep, working on them. But this is one of the exciting projects that we are working right now on them.
That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
And it's exciting to think about how multiple technologies can come together, but I really appreciate that you are putting safety first in the design because I know that that's something that we see as really essential is that the safety considerations are built into the development of different equipment that's being used around workers.
yeah. Just, for this study, me and Miyang, we were going to this agrivoltaics, and several times we bang our head to the
There you go.
yeah.
You should be keeping track of all of those things as issues that we need to make sure are addressed.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Well, it doesn't look like we have any additional questions. So I just want to say thank you so much,
yeah.
Dr. Khorsandi. Everyone, please feel free to reach out to her if you have questions or are interested in any of the research projects that she has. And then please be sure to join us on December 8th for our next seminar. It will be the last seminar of 2028. We'll hear from Jason Glaser with the La Isla Network, and he's going to be sharing about some really impressive heat illness prevention strategies that he's worked with other countries on. So really excited for that presentation and really want to thank you again, Dr. Khorsandi. Everyone, please have a wonderful afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.